Christian fraternity of the Catholic Diocese of Kakamega, following the demise of Bishop Emeritus Philip Sulumeti of the Catholic Diocese of Kakamega. Bishop Philip Sulumeti has been our bishop, has been our father, has been our shepherd, has been our brother, has been our friend, and the good Lord has called him from us, and as Christians we remain with faith and hope that the good Lord will continue rewarding him as he embraces the kingdom where all of us are pilgrims too. In this documentary, His Lordship, Right Reverend Joseph Obanyi Sagwe, expresses his condolences, tries to share his experience, tries to bring to the people the person of Right Reverend Philip Sulumeti, Bishop Emeritus of the Catholic Diocese of Kakamega. Through this documentary, we shall have an overview of Bishop's life, Bishop's works, and above all, we shall also hear what experience various people have had for the time he has been the shepherd of the Catholic Diocese of Kakamega, and even after his retirement, the life he has lived in our midst. We welcome you all, but above all, we continue praying for the soul of Right Reverend Philip Sulumeti, who has rested, who has finished the race here on earth. Welcome.
Ipokee roho ya mwanao, mpokee mtumishi wako, mpokee anakuja kwako, mpokee mtumishi wako.
Right Reverend Philip Sulumeti was born on August 15th, 1937 to Agnes Iponge and Mark Ijait Munyane in Kotur, Amkura, in the Catholic Diocese of Bungoma. He was baptized on the 28th August 1937 by Reverend Father Bernard Rostron, a Mill Hill missionary in Amkura Parish. He received his first Holy Communion on the 13th June 1947 and was confirmed on 20th October 1948 by Monsignor Philip Skefa. Bishop Philip went to Amkura Primary School in 1947. After primary education, he joined St. Peter's Seminary Mukumu for secondary education from 1952 to 1958. In 1959, he proceeded to St. Mary's Gaba Seminary in Uganda for philosophical and theological studies. He studied philosophy from 1959 to 1960 and theology from 1961 to 1965. On 30th December 1964, he was ordained subdeacon in Kisumu Cathedral by Bishop John De Ripa. Bishop De Ripa ordained him deacon on 29th June 1965 in St. Peter's Seminary Mukumu and was appointed to Musoli Parish. Bishop Sulumeti was ordained priest on 6 January 1966 in Amkura Parish by Bishop John De Ripa. Following his priestly ordination, he took up appointment at Kaplong Secondary School and then at Shibuye Parish. In September 1967, he went to Rome for studies until December 1970, whereupon he graduated from Banyana Pontifical University with a doctorate in canon law. In 1971, he was appointed the diocesan secretary and at the same time the second vicar general of the Diocese of Kisumu.
Bishop Sulumeti, having been consecrated bishop in 1972, he was an auxiliary bishop till 1976, when he became the bishop of Kisumu, taking over from Bishop Jan de Ripa. I look at that transition as a very important milestone in the church in Kenya, because then he became one of the earliest African bishops to take over from the missionaries. And he steered the Diocese of Kisumu then up to 1978, when he moved to Kakamega, which was created as the Diocese in 1978. Bishop Sulumeti had been a shepherd of the Diocese of Kakamega for over 40 years. A diocese that he saw from scratch, a diocese that he nurtured in faith, in development, in social life for over 40 years. Is an incredible time that we can talk about his life. He had over 90 priests ordained by himself. That tells you of who he was. Already in 1987, he was able from Kakamega to create another diocese, the Diocese of Bungoma today. He nurtured vocations in such a way that it grew very immensely. I took over in 2015 from him, having created a diocese that was very vibrant, very robust, a diocese where people had been united to do and live their faith in a very authentic way. I have stayed with him for the last 10 years, and he has been an incredible person in my life, advising, praying, and always accompanying me spiritually in my work. So we have been connected up to the last day of his life, and I'm very immensely grateful to a man like this.
Bishop Philip Sulumeti has a story that goes beyond time and outlives years. A person of 88 years has left a towering legend.
He ordained me a priest. I've journeyed with him as a son and a collaborator. But a few things I want to mention, among others. Number one, where we are now. This is the university chaplaincy. Our Blessed Mother, Mary, seat of wisdom. Where we are now is the place where he established. When the Western region needed a university, Bishop Philip Sulumeti, among other eminent men and women of Western Kenya, including the late Professor George Eshwani, were on the forefront for the establishment of Masinde Muliro University, where this chaplaincy is located. And after the establishment of the chaplaincy at the university, the bishop went further and secured 2 plots adjacent to the university where the chaplaincy was established. He had a foresight. He looked into the future. Bishop has been my neighbor where he has been staying. The house for emeritus is not far from here. And I want to say the following. I learned from him discipline. Bishop was disciplined in liturgy. Bishop was disciplined in matter of handling his health. Bishop was disciplined in many aspects. But of importance for us as clergy, the virtue of obedience. Every time he referred to Bishop Obani, he would say, is Bishop aware? Yes, you want to engage me. Is Bishop aware? Aligned the virtue of discipline. I learned the virtue of love. I learned quite a lot from him. Bishop never ate alone. He would always ring and say, "Father, where are you? Come, we have supper together. Come, we have lunch together." And he will wait for you patiently. And that taught me that it's good to associate with others and eat with others. Bishop loved us. He loved Bishop Obani. He loved the priests, the religious, and the Christians. Where he referred to, they call him Mwanaweru, which means our son, Mulinaweru, which means our friend, and many other terms. I saw many pilgrims, many people visit him, and whoever came to visit him would bring him a gift. And when he found the gift, it's quite like food and so on, he would simply say, "Father, where are you? You have many students in the university. Come, there's a banana here, there are sweet potatoes here, and I come and share with the students." The students, the alumni of this university, especially the Catholics, have fond memories about Bishop Philip Sulumeti.
There are many people in Kakamega and outside who have even a greater experience, better experience than me, who can talk much about it. So we appreciate the many people who journeyed with him, the many people whom he served, the many people whom he helped, and especially in matters education, matters health, he was forefront. The Western region cannot be complete without the contribution of Bishop Sulumeti in education, in health matters, and in social development. Bishop Sulumeti is an institution. I keep on saying that he has moved from a name to an institution, to a legend. He marks the history of Kenya and the history of the church as a person who has built faith. Bishop Sulumeti was an immense history. Every time he will talk, I will see him talk about the history of the church, the history of Kakamega, the history of Western Kenya, the history of the missionaries, and I called it living history. In fact, we said we needed to collect a lot of what he was saying because it was historical wisdom, historical accounts of what we may not read in books. And I believe some of our priests, historians, have now put into record many of those things that he said that would be made into an historical account of the diocese.
Bishop Philip Sulumeti has a story that goes beyond time and outlives years. A person of 88 years has left a towering legend.
He was more of a reconciler. Normally, he was one man who could be sent to go and talk to conflicting parties and bring them together. He is a man who always worked towards bringing them together in peace. And because for him, with his wisdom, he was able to reach out to even those who are hostile to one another. And this is the greatest part that he played. He never shied away when there were issues and crises to reach even to the top, to the president. He would go and talk to President Moi. He worked very well with President Kibaki. He's been very familiar with the President Uhuru. And he has also been very quite familiar and close to President Ruto. People whom he can reach out even personally and point out issues that need to be addressed. That was his greatness.
We were coming from Uganda, we went for a pilgrimage. And Bishop stood at the border and asked the askaris at the border to open for the pilgrims. He explained. He stood there and all the pilgrims from Kakamega crossed the border. Immediately to cross the border back home is when Bishop crossed. And one of the drivers of the buses, I think they were elderly buses, said, this bishop, when he arrives in heaven and he finds some of his flock is not there, he will wait at the door until the flock enters. And that driver was not even a Catholic. That means Bishop was a good shepherd. Bishop was a loving shepherd. He reached to each one of us. He loved each one of us. And above all, Bishop liked intellectual discourse, discussing about theology, discussing about politics, discussing about philosophy and so on. He was very much at home, and he made us also to love scholastic work by the nature that he loved it and he wanted us to go far. That is what Bishop did for us. And many, many, many other aspects. We are saddened, but we leave him to God. He has done a lot. He called us by his name, but now God has called him. We are sad, yes, but we are happy that Bishop has died a happy man. I take this opportunity to thank all those who worked with the Bishop, especially Bishop Obanyi. Thank you, Bishop Obanyi, for handling Bishop Sulumeti as your own son, as your own dad, as your colleague. Thank you, fathers and the religious men and women, for the great work you did to Emeritus. I am here a witness to say I saw it all. And to the Christians of Kakamega, Muriomno, you did a lot. You visited us groups, either Siwa, CIMAC, legionaries, name them, and we kept our bishop warm.
Naenda zangu kwa baba yangu, naenda zangu, naenda zangu, kwaherini.
As we celebrate the life of Bishop Emeritus Philip Sulumeti, we are celebrating the history of faith. Bishop Emeritus Sulumeti has marked the history of the church in Kenya with great witness in a pastoral ministry, in spiritual works, in social development, education of young people, health care, and of course, fighting for the rule of law. These are the values Bishop Sulumeti stood for. During his ministry, Bishop Sulumeti journeyed with the people of God in word and example, dispensing the mysteries of redemption as a faithful announcer of the gospel. Bishop Sulumeti had great influence to people's lives, laity, religious, and clergy, and this was due to his love for excellence. It is in view of this that His Lordship Right Reverend Joseph Obanyi Sagwe calls upon all of us to give a respectful, religious, and solemn send-off to the person who cherished the faith and the love of the church.
In his will, Bishop Sulumeti was very particular and meticulous in the way he would like to be buried. It was very clear that he would like to be buried according to the stipulations and the life of the church, the teaching of the church. He would like to be buried as a priest of God. And therefore, he would not like many things that are not connected with him as a priest. Apart from all other things, he dies as a priest. And therefore, we as the diocese, in honor of his life and who he was, we plan to carry out our preparations towards his burial, and all the ceremonies and the programs will be geared towards having that was his wish and what the church really recommends. And above all, we do believe that the most important thing is now to lay him to rest as a priest. So our plan then and according to the liturgical order of the church, is to have a funeral that befits him, a funeral that is devoid of politics, a funeral that is devoid of asides, side shows, a funeral that respects that simple priest who became a bishop. Therefore, we do not intend to have speeches that are outside the real program that is needed to be had. We know everybody would like to say things about him. We know people who like to laud him what he has been to them. But I think the greatest tribute that we can give him is the prayer, the Mass. And that's why we look forward to his burial day. We shall have Mass, and after Mass, we shall lay him to rest. This is the bottom line. Those who wish probably to pay their tributes are free to send their messages of condolences, their tributes, and that can be expressed in different ways. We don't all have to speak because each one of us has something to say. We are celebrating his life, we are remembering his great work, and we are also mourning. Humanly speaking, we say we feel sad at his death, but we also celebrate much of his life that he lived.
We ask God to open the gates of paradise for you. And when you become a saint bishop, already you will pray for us. I know you'll wait for us at the gate of heaven and ask Peter and Michael to open for us heaven. That was your theology. We thank you for what you did and for all the members of this diocese for the great work they did for you. And without mentioning names, there were many of them, and I've seen Father Rambo and others here who really worked and make sure that you had a good life. God bless everybody. We are mourning, but we are happy. Death is a transition.
Our Papa, may the angels lead you into paradise. May the martyrs come to welcome you and take you to the holy city, the new and eternal Jerusalem. Rest in eternal peace. Amen.
Sitakuwa nanyi, nitarudi